A really bad video, watch it.
I mean, Cosmonaut is really bad. I know of Cosmonaut. I mean, this seems like the perfect thing to respond to.
Okay, but I'm not gonna like it. I really fucking hate this guy's voice.
I know. Because don't you say that Cosmonaut is like the worst YouTuber in your eyes, like objectively?
In my opinion, he is the worst YouTuber ever.
Sam Raimi's Spider-Man trilogy is worse than you remember by Cosmonaut, the worst YouTuber ever. That is his full name.
Look, I actually agree with his statement, but his video's really bad.
Well, I think Spider-Man 2 is worse than people remember.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say that 1 is worse than you remember. 1 is really good.
1 is great, and 3 is awesome. Like, 3 is fun, but stupid. But the thing is, 3 is honestly only bad in pacing and having too much in it. Like, I think...
all 3, I like all 3 movies.
Oh, me too!
And that was studio mandated, too.
Yeah, I like all 3 movies.
To have that many characters.
The issue is...
Who's the worst?
Yeah, 2 is the worst one, I agree.
Whenever I post a video at least partially related to Spider-Man, I always get vultures flying down, yelling at me about how
You know what his voice reminds me of? Like when Jim is doing an impression of Dwight in the office, and he's like, "Bears eat beets."
What it reminds me of is irrational hatred.
Because of that fucking vocal fry he does?
Yes.
Spider-Man 2 is better. Tom Holland can suck my dick. So the other day I was like, okay, fine. I haven't seen the Sam Raimi movies.
No, I think that No Way Home is better than Spider-Man 2.
He's talking about Homecoming, though.
I have no interest in seeing Homecoming.
In a pretty long time. Maybe
but
I need to refresh my opinions a little bit. So I want to...
Boo Ben Boo.
I rewatched the movies, and holy shit, these do not hold up. Now, I like to think I have a pretty good track record when it comes...
Oh boy, I don't think Cosmonaut has a good track record in literally anything, but okay.
...comes to my opinions, alright?
Well, especially not in his opinions.
I have a decent following of naive 11-year-olds.
He literally changes his opinions in the same fucking videos.
And depressed alcoholic college students that seem to like and listen to my opinions. But I'm aware that I'm kind of pushing it this time. I'm just saying, I think the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies aren't as good as you remember. Now, I still love these movies, all 3 of them, to be exact. Yeah, you heard that right. But it annoys me that people look at the first 2 as some...
out of their nose really hard.
Talks out of their nose really hard?
sort of superhero holy grail.
I know exactly what you mean, though, because you're saying he has a nasally voice, but still, that's a funny way to word it.
Like, really that good anymore. So let's look at...
No, but Spider-Man 2 is easily the worst of the 3.
3 of these movies and see why they really don't hold up and are kind of a little bit, just a little bit, of a mess. And yeah...
I mean, 3 is a mess, but that's... Again, it's amazing despite that. Like I said, 3 has easily the best Peter Parker in any Spider-Man movie.
Please, Jesus, help me kill Spider-Man.
I know everybody says Spider-Man 3 is the worst one, but if you ask me...
Yeah, and I like how he actually went and sucked... like he said, you know, you want forgiveness, find religion, so then he does.
3 of these movies are basically the same, and I'll elaborate more on that
later.
But for now, let's start at the beginning.
Yep.
Let's start...
I don't agree that these movies are all basically the same at all.
With Spider-Man 1.
Because, like, they each have very different character arcs for Peter Parker.
I will say they all have this message, though.
Yeah, well, kind of.
It is like responsibility. Each movie is
is about responsibility. Yes, like great power comes great responsibility. But like
what? I've never heard that before.
Yeah, I know. Who'd have thought?
So the first thing we're greeted with is a corny narration by Peter Parker, played by good old American sweetheart Tobey Maguire.
The Sam Raimi movies do that message.
Here's the thing. I always hate like when people act like narration is inherently bad.
It is though.
It's
Name
not.
one time narration was good.
Spider-Man 1.
It's literally like the perfect. The one I think of.
When here's an even better one. Watchmen. Watchmen is like most of the movie is narration.
What are you talking about? They never narrated once.
That's all Rorschach does for the vast majority of the movie.
One thing that I hate the most about the Spider-Man trilogy, I hate Tobey Maguire.
Oh, what a fag.
Since I was a kid, I never really saw him.
How can you hate Tobey Maguire?
My definitive Peter Parker. He's kind of meek and wimpy, and that's supposed to be Peter's personality at first, but he never really gets over it.
Untrue. Spider-Man 3.
When he's Spider-Man, I still want to kick his ass because he's...
And hell, I'd argue even in 1 and 2. Like, he gets out. Like, the thing is his character progresses in each of the movies. Like, in one, he grows as a character quite a bit.
Also, like, Spider-Man literally is like a confident character when he's Spider-Man.
That's true.
You're mine.
And sometimes Tobey's performance is just really bad. There's some actors doing a really good job in these movies, so you really notice when somebody isn't doing that great of a job.
Who am I? You sure you want to know?
Blech. Also, at the mere 6-minute mark,
That wasn't that bad. What is he talking about?
we are shown the greatest character in the entire trilogy, Willem Dafoe.
Okay, I agree with him on that. Like, well, I don't agree with him on that entirely. He's the best villain, easily. And he's the most based character.
You know how much I've sacrificed?
Norman Osborn is an amazing character.
No, I fucking love it.
Spider-Man trilogy, I think Norman Osborn is the best character.
That's gotta
Yeah,
be
you know what?
one-
I think I agree. I like second guess myself, but yeah, I think I agree. I think he is the best character in the trilogy.
He's one of the reasons why I like fucking No Way Home so much.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. You know, he's actually kind of better in No Way Home.
Yeah, I would agree.
As Norman Osborn. I'll get more into him later, though. For now, let's look at how Harry introduces his dad.
Peter, may I introduce my father, Norman Osborn?
Why would you introduce your dad by his full name?
How is that a criticism?
Because he doesn't. He's got a strange relationship with his father. It's a part of the movie.
Yeah, well,
Watch the movie.
Well, I'm just saying that's a weird criticism. Like I don't think that's inherently a weird way to introduce someone. You know what I mean?
It's why? Well, isn't that normal to introduce somebody by their full name?
I would imagine so. Like, I'm not
Even
saying that you have to do it every time, but, you know, and I often don't, but I don't think that would inherently be, like, strange, you know what I mean?
Hey, this is my dad. Call him my dad.
Right?
Or whatever. Also, look at these high
You will address him exclusively as my dad.
school students. Now, I know a lot of movies have people who aren't really playing their age, but this is kind of ridiculous. You see this guy? That's supposed to be their teacher. He's younger than they are. I gotta say, though, I love how every line this man says is whispered and sounds very aggressive and threatening.
The next person who talks will fail this course. I kid you not.
Do you know that this is the largest electron microscope on the eastern seaboard?
You were talking throughout that woman's entire presentation.
So anyway,
I do like how like, unnecessarily, like, intimidating that is, though, looking at it, though.
Peter gets bitten by some brown recluse and then he dies.
Brown recluse? That is not a brown recluse at all.
That's a CGI spider.
Well, like, look, the thing is if you're gonna say that spider is supposed to be any kind of spider, that's clearly a Latrodectus spider based on the back of it, which would be a widow spider.
It's peaceful
Which they say in the
sleep.
movie.
So
Yeah.
in the next scene, we get the beginnings of Norman Osborn's supervillain origin story. And I gotta say, I do like the pacing in this movie for the most part. Things go along in a fairly well-balanced way. You see the beginning of Peter's origin, and then right after you see the beginning of the villain's origin. It just keeps going back and forth like this. However, his motivation...
I remember I saw a video one time where somebody said that origin stories were, like, inherently bad, and I don't think I agree with that at all.
What are you talking about? Name one good origin story.
Spider-Man 1.
Shut up.
Iron Man 1. Batman
Joker.
Begins. Joker.
Things aren't really that clear before he turns into a crazy monster person. He seems mad that they're
Crazy monster person.
Story is actually usually the best one in this franchise.
I think it often is. Yeah. Like, I don't know why, but monster person, like, crazy monster person made me think of Little Clown Boy for some reason.
Little clown boy.
taking the project back to formula. I'm a dumb internet movie boy, so I don't know what that means, but it seems like he needs to get his little science project
So in other words, he's too stupid to know what they're saying.
done really quickly, or the army men won't be very happy with him. Next, we see the first scene of what I'm going to call corny Sam Raimi shit.
Genetically designed super spiders.
Why are there skulls?
Because humans have skulls in their body?
It looks like I added those in post, but that's for real. This
Well, like, one of them was, like, shown, like, inside of him, and then it shows others nearby. Like, it's showing that it's transforming his body. Like, it's affecting his body.
is fucking hilarious, and it only gets better from here. The next scene is even funnier. Norman goes ahead and decides he's gonna be the human test subject, and this fucking doormat just goes along with it. Oh, I guess I'll just clean up the broken glass.
Look, Norman's a Chad.
Asshole. Also, I think this little part is hilarious.
Yeah, the points that he's supposed to be a dick.
Well, either way, the experiment goes horribly wrong, and he dies.
He's saying it's cold.
What?
Willem Dafoe is so good at facial expressions. Like, I think he was perfect for Green Goblin.
Yeah.
This is a comedy movie. I don't care what anybody
It's supposed to be comedic to an extent.
Yeah.
Like, that's not even a question.
It's a comic book.
Yeah. Comic.
tells me. Now you guys know the rest. I won't nitpick the rest of this first
Because you know that another slang for comics is funny books, right?
Yeah.
act, because that would be way too easy. Like, I could mention how Peter's just gonna walk to school, but then the bus just appears and he's like, oh no, wait, I'm supposed to run after the bus. Like, what the fuck? You weren't even going to the bus stop. It's your own fault if you miss it now.
Yes,
And
he
I'm
was!
Yeah, he was absolutely walking to the bus stop.
definitely not gonna mention this unfortunately aged joke.
Oh boy, this is the one that got me a strike!
That's a cute outfit. Did your husband give it to you?
What if he did make it for him? Would that be so bad? Wow, Spider-Man.
Well,
It's
dude,
it's
you
a
think
good
Spider-Man would have... You think Spider-Man, if Bonesaw said, yes, my husband did make it for me, you think Spider-Man would be like, gay? You think that's how he would
no, because
respond?
like the thing is he was like making a joke because Macho, like, he's literally played by Macho Man Randy Savage, so he's playing at his machismo, like
That's all he's doing.
yeah.
You're pretty homophobic. But what?
Oh, what a
No,
faggot.
he's not! Oh my god, you...
Oh god, this is bad.
Something that does bug me is the pivotal scene where Uncle Ben gives his
Wait, okay, I thought he was gonna talk about his death, but this, I mean, Uncle Ben was handled amazingly in this movie.
iconic speech. Because he's actually chastising Peter Parker for fighting Flash Thompson in a previous scene. Except Peter was fighting in self-defense, and Uncle Ben's like, oh, well, you shouldn't have done that.
No,
just because
he inserted himself into there.
Yeah.
Beat him up doesn't mean you should. So what does
All of these criticisms are just bad.
Peter do with this advice? He spends the rest of his life beating people up. The context just don't make no sense.
That was an awful joke. That didn't work at all.
However, on an unrelated note, I think it's time
Snents, like just saying a word wrong that's supposed to be funny.
to bring up something that I love about these movies. And that's the extras. I'm serious, look in the background of any shot and just find a random person. You'll get a whole new level of entertainment out of these movies. In this movie, you'll see background characters that don't give a shit, people who have no idea where they are. Even main characters have a chance of devolving into idle sins
Well, that's
when they're
because
not
his
the
father
focus of
didn't
the
respect
scene.
him in that scene.
Yeah, no, that was absolutely contextual to the scene with Harry.
Yeah.
That was a boo-ben. Wait, did I dislike this? When did I dislike this? I don't think I've seen this video. When did I what? I mean, I was going to regardless, but
It is really bizarre. So for those of you who aren't aware by now, this movie has a certain flow to it. We see Peter do stuff,
yeah, it's called story progression. There's a flow to a story.
and then we see Norman
What?
do stuff. And then Peter and Norman meet up again, and the whole thing goes on like that until the movie's over. And this works mostly because, like I said, Norman Osborn is fucking hilarious. Maybe it's just me, but every scene with him makes me laugh. He could be doing something completely normal, and it's still hilarious to me. It's like Willem Dafoe is an alien pretending to be a human.
Oh.
Peter, the Science Award. That's terrific.
Yeah.
I'm something of a scientist myself.
I am now going to
He didn't even play the line, dick.
There are some of my favorite
That's
moments
the point. That's the joke.
That bait and switch is a little funny. I'll give him that.
of
But
Norman Osborn in this movie. I like the reaction he has when Harry offers Peter to work for him. He looks so happy. Look at his face.
because he likes Peter.
I don't
Yeah.
even need to describe this part. It kind of speaks for itself. I love how his whole plan to recruit Spider-Man is to drug him, kidnap him, tie him up, and have a dad talk with him on a rooftop about how New Yorkers are dicks and they're not worth saving.
You know, and
That's a good plan.
I actually do think it is a good plan.
Yeah, I would. If I was Spider-Man, I would have teamed up with Green Goblin.
Well, like, that's what we're gonna have our Spider-Man do in Objectivist Heroes, remember?
Right.
I like how he dresses up as an old lady, complete with a stock sound effect, just so he can get the jump on Spider-Man. And then this
Well, that's why I don't get why he would think that the humor isn't intentional.
scene ends with this great line.
No one says no to me!
Sometimes he just shows up for no reason, like this jump scare. However, a character in these movies that I do not like is Aunt May.
Why?
He gets into it.
Aunt May is actually like a good depiction of what a woman is supposed to be like.
His reason is really petty.
Okay.
Aunt May has the worst pep talks in this movie.
That's his reason? And I disagree.
You'll see
The
though.
last thing I said to him, he tried to tell me something important. and I threw it in his face.
You loved him.
Wow, she's so wise. And
What the fuck do you expect her to say?
That's what she needs to say in that situation.
Yeah, it absolutely is.
blamed
It
himself.
absolutely is.
He's upset with himself that it was disappointment. As someone who last when I spoke to my father, it was me disappointed in him. That's something that I would have needed to hear if I was going through that. Which I was going through that.
Well, there you go.
It's supposed to be Peter's moral compass, and in these movies, she's kind of rude. But I'll get into that.
She's kind of rude, okay.
In the next movie, where she is just the biggest asshole.
Ow!
So,
But the guy was like greedy.
Why does that? Huh?
Anywho, the second half of this movie
guy
hits,
was
and you
stealing.
realize that we are now watching a completely
Again, these criticisms are just baffling to me.
different movie. And I couldn't be happier, honestly. This movie is so wild, and I think that's why everybody loves these movies. In the second half of the movie, we're also introduced to the actual best character, J. Jonah Jameson.
J. Jonah Jameson is a pretty good character.
Even when I read the comics, I hear his voice in my head. Not only is his performance good, but it's like his scenes have a completely different writing staff. His lines are legitimately funny in this.
Again, he thinks that the comedy is unintentional.
Jameson, Spider-Man.
Hoffman?
Yeah?
Hoffman!
To the point where I'm pretty sure he's making some of this stuff up.
Spider-Man wasn't attacking the city. He was trying to save it. That's slander.
It is not.
It's libel.
That. Slander is spoken. In print, it's libel.
Also, do you guys remember that Elizabeth Banks is in these movies?
Yeah, because she wants to fuck him in Spider-Man 2, or Spider-Man 3, rather.
Yeah, no. Nobody remembers that.
Wrong.
So once the festival scene happens, we get a really good idea of how much this movie has completely lost it. Where before the special effects were mostly hidden or just briefly shown, this movie is now a CGI nightmare. And if you think I'm being mean to a movie that came out in 2002, let's see what a real critic has to say.
Yeah, like the CGI is serviceable, and like I think he's also overplaying just how much bad effects you see.
You know, my thumb is down on this movie, but it's sort of a split decision. When you see Spider-Man flying through the skies and leaping between buildings, he looks like an artificial cartoon character. He moves too fast, without the weight and presence of flesh and blood.
Well, like, look, that's why when people say that Roger Ebert is such an amazing critic, I'm like, I think of him just as like any other critic. So
They even thought it looked like shit back then.
He's a
so
man.
leave me alone.
Literally a spider.
Yeah.
But human.
Mm-hmm.
This part here
What I
always
hate
kind
about
of
like critics like that though is that when they review something, they only review it on like a technical level, but they don't actually care about like the plot or the characters or anything. They just care about like what they're taught in college.
Yeah.
bothered me too. See, Goblin has these fucking bombs that turn people into skeletons. Yeah, for real.
Except for sometimes when they don't.
Yeah, I mean they're pumpkin bombs. They like the thing is that to me is like a disintegration thing, you know?
Anyway, he throws it at this balcony, and Harry and MJ are also on this balcony, like they're right next to each other. But the bomb only kills these people. Not only
because they were in range.
Kills them, it fucking vaporizes them. But why didn't MJ get hit? She saw it happen. She literally watched this happen right in front of her.
But I guess she was just out of the blast radius.
But she's fine. I mean, maybe
Yeah,
you
but
gotta
there's
be like
times when
really, really
people
close
are
to it.
bombs like that. There are times when people like this is actually something I agree with on. There are times when like other characters are really close to the bomb, it blows up in their face, and they just get like lightly damaged.
Well, maybe he has some that aren't as effective. Like maybe he has a variety of pumpkin bombs.
But like in this, like it sounds like he's saying that like why didn't she blow up from looking at it?
Right? It does kind of sound like that. Well, like it's the Ark of the Covenant in Indiana Jones. but no, but like he also has those pumpkin bombs that are like blades. So like why wouldn't he have other kinds?
If he just has this is the only time he's ever. I guess he particularly hated these people, so maybe he only built the one.
Yeah.
I guess that's something you go with.
Yeah.
I mean, why would he doesn't want to kill? I don't think he wanted to kill MJ yet in this.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, he was only after those guys at that
Now
scene.
I'm gonna show you guys a brief clip, and it showcases
hence why he's like, out am I?
Exactly why I love this movie, and why I think this movie is a huge joke. Everything that this movie symbolizes in my mind is in this clip.
Hello, my dear.
It's Spider-Man!
This clip has everything. goofy-ass Willem Dafoe acting, screaming women, which Sam Raimi loves, by the way, but I'll get into that later, and hilarious extras.
It's Spider-Man!
I did not edit that clip to be any faster. That's just the pace of these movies. This festival scene is just really
I do enjoy how she reacted to
cut out
Spider-Man
5
before he
seconds
was
at
on screen.
Yeah.
any point of
Like
this
before
whole
he was
scene,
physically
and you have
before he was
unintentional
physically
comedy
able
gold.
to be seen.
She's got really good vision, okay?
Hold it right there! I surrender!
Oh boy.
So the scene ends with a nice 1-2 punch. First, we get one of the funniest lines in the movie.
Kill me to death, Spider-Man!
And then Peter
How is that one of the funniest lines in the movie?
I laughed.
So funny.
Parker kidnaps Mary Jane,
I got off
and the
with that
crowd
one.
cheers him on for doing this. You don't think she needs to, like, go to the hospital? Because she was trapped under fucking rubble. And people have also pointed this out before, but that's obviously a mannequin in a Spider-Man costume, and her hair is blowing in the wrong way. Anyway, let's look at more goofy scenes out of
Nice.
context.
That's such a nitpick.
No, that's a legit issue. That's one that
It's not
I
one
mean,
that you'd
nitpick,
notice right
yeah.
off.
Nitpick, yes, but that doesn't mean it's not an issue.
Yeah, but it's not a major issue. Like you wouldn't notice it unless you were looking for it. But it is an issue, sure. But
I don't know why would that bother
This
anybody.
movie is so fucking funny. It's pretty clear that this movie is the goofiest thing to be put on film in the year 2002. I mean, the climax has the villain literally holding the love interest in one hand and a metal box of children in the other, and Spider-Man
the
has to pick
climax.
which one
yeah,
he's gonna save. Is something this
it's not at all the
One
climax.
was that he picks Mary Jane.
At least he saves both. Though.
stereotypical happened in a superhero movie today? There would be
But if you
public
save the
outcry
children,
about
Spider-Man, I'll say you're a pedophile.
how silly
Yeah, there
it
you
is.
go.
But to top it off, you get the funniest
Funny,
line
yeah.
in the whole movie, and I mean it. Out of
He already said that "I'll see you again, Spider-Man" was the funniest line in the whole movie. Now he's saying this is.
everything I've shown you guys, this line is my favorite. I have memorized
Is it going to be "I'll save you, Mary Jane"? Is that going to be the line?
this speech. It is truly iconic to me. It's
doubt it's
one of
gonna
the
be that.
greatest and
Because he said speech, so probably not.
cheesiest superhero movie monologues.
Oh, the New York line, isn't it?
This is why
no.
only fools are heroes. Because you never know when some lunatic will come along with the sadistic choice. Let die the woman you love, or suffer the little children.
I like that
Truly
this
a masterpiece.
Like how evil the choice is, though. Like he thought of like the most evil thing he could, a box full of children.
As a regular superhero movie, I'm gonna give this a 6 out of 10. But
Boo.
as a comedy, 10s across the board.
Superhero movies are often comedies because they are comic books.
Comedic gold.
Don't tell Harry.
Very funny.
So now we've arrived at the Citizen Kane of Spider-Man movies.
Boo.
Or so
Spider-Man 2 sucks.
people say.
I like Spider-Man 2, but I like to shit on it as well because, again, it is very overrated and very boring.
Spider-Man 2.
The best aspect is like the responsibility for Peter Parker.
Yeah. Well, and, like, again, I think Spider-Man 2, like, watching Spider-Man 2 makes Spider-Man 3 better because everyone treats Peter like shit in 2, so when he goes around being a dick in 3, you're like, he's earned this.
Yeah.
Point 1. That's the one I have. I'm sorry. Now, while the point of this video is to bring up the crummy aspects of this movie and kind of laugh at it, I gotta admit that it's 100% undeniable that this is the best movie out of the trilogy.
I disagree.
No.
1 is the best movie out of the trilogy.
It's way funnier than the first one.
No, it isn't.
It has some good
It has the best J. Jonah Jameson lines. I will say that.
emotional moments, and it's pretty exciting to watch, but it still has dumb shit. So,
Like, the villain is poorly written, and I bet you he won't even touch on that, because he's probably too stupid to pick up on that, but we'll see. But in addition to the villain being poorly written, it's also focuses way too much on the boring-ass romance.
let's start off with another Peter Parker narration.
Who am I?
Oh no, how dare they?
Spider-Man, given a job to do.
I'm Emperor Rose.
Now, I would run through this movie scene by scene like I did for the last movie, but this movie's kind of hard to do that for, and I'd also be here for a really long time. I'm trying to go to bed. This movie follows a little bit of a formula, but not the same one as the last movie. In this
But he said they were all the same movie. Boo Ben Boo, liar.
movie, everything revolves around Peter Parker being shit on. And I know shitting on him is kind of half of the whole thing about being Spider-Man, but that's exactly my point. It should be half of the story. Rewatching this movie is really frustrating because everybody is an asshole. Mary Jane is an asshole. Aunt May is rude as fuck. Harry is the biggest piece of shit ever. This movie is just unrelentingly mean. The first thing Harry says to Peter in this...
I agree with everything but Aunt May.
Right, yeah, same.
Is, hey, your friend Spider-Man...
But, like, the thing is, everyone shitting on Peter Parker is kind of, like, one of the things that worked about Spider-Man 2. Because, again, it's kind of the point.
Man killed my dad, and I fucking...
Because 2 is about him having an identity crisis, trying to decide what he wants to commit to.
I hate you. And they start talking about other stuff. And then he's like, no, but seriously, I really hate Spider-Man, and I hate you, and this is why Uncle Ben died. Every chance Harry gets, he talks about how Spider-Man killed his dad. Even when Spider-Man saves his life in the beginning of the movie, he doesn't even skip a beat. He's just like...
I mean, it's a pretty big thing, though.
Mm-hmm.
This doesn't change anything.
And I really hate the fact
dude.
that Peter just wouldn't explain. Like,
yeah.
You are really petty. It also doesn't help that James Franco's acting is kind of shitty in this movie.
Is it?
Ruined. I have nothing left except Spider-Man.
And then we have Aunt May, who nags the shit out of Peter Parker in every scene that he's in. She abuses random people. Ow! And
he made the wrong kick there. Oh my god, she didn't mean to kick him.
In the most egregious instance of mischaracterization, she makes Peter feel more guilty for Uncle Ben's death. At a crucial point in the movie, Peter is like, hey, Aunt May, it's been eating me up inside. I basically caused Uncle Ben's death. I didn't know how to tell you, and I'm so sorry. All I want is forgiveness. And she's basically like, wow, you're a piece of shit. Bye. And then she just leaves. She leaves.
How would you react? How would you react?
Yeah, exactly. It's a lot to take in. It's a lot to take in.
Even when Peter comes back...
She reacted very, very good there because her reaction was to walk away, to calm down, so that way she came back with something good to say.
Yeah, exactly.
Tries to talk about it again, you know, to get some closure. She's basically like, well, you fucked up, but whatever. This is not Aunt May, and it makes me really mad.
No, Aunt May's fine. Aunt May is one of the better written characters in this trilogy too. She's not like one of my top 10 favorites or anything, but she is written well.
Mad. But even though Aunt May has the worst scene, and she's one of the worst characters in the movie, she still isn't the number one worst
Aunt May,
character.
the worst character.
No, that award goes to Mary Jane
I agree, based.
Watson.
Never thought I'd say based to a Cosmonaut video, but he's right, Mary Jane is the worst. But watch him be unbased in his reasoning.
Yeah.
Most petty and manipulative person.
I mean, true.
In the entire series. She's...
You know, Mary Jane sucks. I fucking hate Mary Jane.
Spends the whole movie fucking with Peter's emotions. At the end of the first movie, he's like, hey, listen, I'm sorry, we can't be together. You know, I gotta do my own thing. It's sad, but hey, he's being straight with her. And in their first scene in this movie, she tries to make the moves on him, and he's like, hey, whoa, hold up. Yeah, no, I'm still trying to be friends here. I don't want to date you. And she's like, oh yeah? Well, fucking kiss me, you pussy. Look how cute I am. I baked you a fucking cake. And he's like, okay. Oh, boy, yeah.
Oh, boy, yeah.
And she's like, admit you love me. Admit you love me, Peter. And he's like, no, I don't.
Again, all of his points on Mary Jane I'm agreeing with, so.
I don't want to. So she takes it easy. You know, she backs off a little bit. She doesn't freak out or anything, except she does this shit.
To be fair, Peter kind of plays with her, too, though.
No, but she is awful.
No, but like what he's saying is that Peter's like not in the wrong here whatsoever, and he's like, no, he kind of plays too.
But she's the one getting him to like participate. Like she's she's like enticing him into so that he has to doubt himself.
Yeah.
Like he already said that he didn't want to be with her, and then she like the oh boy yeah is like a normal person reaction to like a girl flirting with you that you know you can't be with. Like,
yeah, well, no, I get it. I'm just saying that he's playing too, and he's Cosmonaut saying he's
let me put it this way though: it is not equal. Because I'm not saying just like because it's like just being playful. No, that's like she toys with his emotions. She is a bitch to him for like the entire movie. Like in the trilogy, like the thing that drives me nuts is like just how much of a bitch she is when he's like not even really doing anything like that bad. Like she'll just criticize every little thing he does and act like he has to have no life outside of her.
Yeah, no, I get it. I still firmly hold that she's awful.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, well, you know what? I have a boyfriend anyway, so fuck you. And she seriously says it just to fuck with him. But then you learn that she's only fucking this other guy because she's mad at Peter Parker. She agrees to marry him right after she yells at Peter Parker. It's just because she's mad at him.
punch me, I bleed.
So then in the weirdest scene of the movie, she has this fucking experiment with her.
I don't know, like, I don't get why he thinks that that's, like, because, I mean, it's corny because it's, like, romance bullshit, but it's not, like, anything egregious.
For, like, Peter's character, it, like, works.
Mm-hmm.
Her fiance, where she makes him kiss her like Spider-Man kissed her in the first movie. What if your girlfriend went up to you and was like, hey, can you kiss me like this one guy used to kiss me? This one guy that I just kissed in an alleyway one time?
That's not what she did.
I just want to, see what it feels like. What the fuck? No! But that's not the only frustrating plot device. Dr. Octopus is also a big dumbass. Firstly, he has this extremely dangerous demonstration in his fucking apartment with no protection.
Is that an apartment?
He thought it wasn't dangerous. He thought it was dangerous. Yeah, this is his house.
Okay.
Anybody in the room.
Interesting apartment.
Other than goggles
he can't do it
for himself. And then
yeah, but like I said, I think that the reason that I say is poorly written is because he's like a super nice guy, and then the second that the voices talk to him, they persuade him like immediately.
We'll get to that.
When he turns evil,
if Cosmonaut's smart enough to pick up on that, I'll give him credit.
His entire supervillain plot is, well, I gotta finish my science experiment. Might as well. I get that you're supposed to be crazy now because of the AI of the metal arms, fucking with his mind. But why the fuck do they want to finish the fusion reactor? What do they care about sustainable energy
that's what their purpose is.
He's one of the best characters in the Spider-Man universe with really complex goals and motivations. But here he's just a fucking goofball.
Butterfingers.
I will say, though, that one...
You see what I mean? That's what I mean when I say he becomes ridiculously mean for no reason the second he, becomes a criminal.
Yeah.
One of the best scenes in the movie is definitely the fucking horror scene that plays at the end of the first act. This is so reminiscent of Evil Dead that it makes me kind of giddy. Look at this. Tell me this is not from Evil Dead. For real.
It's not from Evil Dead, for real.
And to top it off...
I was being facetious there, I get what he's going for, and I do kind of agree that it is very Evil Dead-like. I was just being facetious.
This scene is full of the other staple of this trilogy, screaming women. I mentioned it briefly before, but Sam Raimi loves screaming women.
Don't we all?
Yeah, we all do. It's a major turn-on.
Even when the movie isn't being campy and it's not being serious, it's just being really awkward. Tobey Maguire can't have a normal scene with somebody.
We sure showed him.
What do you mean, we?
Oh.
Wait, Peter Parker beats up Dr. Octopus. He tells Mary Jane he's Spider-Man, and then she leaves her fiancé on their...
But the thing is, he's supposed to be awkward as well. That's the other thing.
Yeah, this is another evil thing she did. She literally just...
Yeah. Just fucking leaves the guy at the altar.
And then everyone just sort of laughs at it. They're like, ha, sucks to be him.
Their wedding day and decides to be with Peter Parker, which is fucked up, but whatever. Oh, she also says that she doesn't mind that he's Spider-Man and she'll do whatever it takes to be with him and that she'll be there for him no matter what.
Yeah, but that's not true.
She's a liar.
Yeah, because in 3 she becomes a total cunt.
She already establishes that she's a cheater, which in part 3, she totally was about to cheat on Peter with Harry.
Yeah, and then that's why I don't get why she gets so mad at him for dancing with Gwen Stacy.
He kisses Gwen Stacy.
Yeah, but she kissed him while she was dating Harry. So, fair's fair.
She's all 3 movies.
Except in the next movie where she leaves him because he's Spider-Man.
And she was also trying to get with him while she had a boyfriend.
Anyway, this movie's dumb as hell.
Yeah.
7 out of 10, I love it.
Very funny.
Okay, so everybody knows that this movie is bad. And I'm not about to talk shit about Spider-Man 2 and go ahead and say this one's good. And I almost wasn't even going to talk about it because everybody already knows the funny things in it. But
but the Spider-Man 3 is great.
Can't help it. This movie is hilarious.
And the thing is, people I think that Bully Maguire, as he's often called, I just typically called him Symbiote Peter, but Bully Maguire, he's grown on everybody, right? The thing is, I think that he does a very good job at exemplifying, like I said, he is peak Peter Parker, number 1. And number 2, it's kind of funny that Peter's such a sweet guy that an evil alien just makes him a little bit of a dick.
Yeah.
However, while the movie is bad, it's actually pretty consistent in its tone. This still feels like a Spider-Man sequel, even if it is a really stupid one.
How's the pie?
That face.
So this movie goes ahead and starts off with another...
It's me, Peter Parker.
Again, you should realize it's a staple at this point. They're trying to, have it be a staple of the thing, of the trilogy.
God damn it. You think after 2 movies he'd probably get good at this. But no, he doesn't. Now, if you ask me, the best part about this movie is the fact that the wackiness starts at the very beginning. It's not a gradual build-up like it is in the last two movies. This movie starts off as a shit show.
It starts off wacky in both movies, like the pizza scene in the second, and like the look, that's me in the beginning of the first movie.
And like obviously in the first movie, like the bonesaw thing's pretty early in the movie too.
10-minute mark, we already see two antagonists. Harry starts juicing with the goblin serum, and a fucking meteorite.
I honestly am glad that the studio made them put Venom in it though, because like the symbiote like affecting Peter is like, because the symbiote wasn't even going to be in it originally, right?
Yeah, if anything, I think it should have just been about the symbiote.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they didn't want the writer didn't want to just do about the symbiote.
Yeah.
Right, lands in the Central Park.
I think the whole thing, they should have just focused more on Venom and like made Venom like the big buff character he is in the comics.
Yeah. Or like here's the thing, like I feel like that there were one too many villains because 3 is a bit much. Like I mean even 2 is a bit much, but I think that if it would if Sandman wasn't a thing and it was just Venom and New Goblin.
So the thing that is the counter to that is that fucking No Way Home juggled 5.
That's true. You can do multiple villains well.
I guess the thing that's going for that movie, though, is that all these villains were already set up in prior movies.
That's true. And the thing is it improved Doc Ock by actually fixing that major plot hole with the character I have, which I take issue with him just becoming unrealistically mean. Because Spider-Man 2 doesn't actually say that the AI takes over. They're just talking to him, and they're able to control themselves.
This movie's trying to...
But then No Way Home confirms that they actually took over his brain. So that, I think, actually fixed a lot of the problems I had with Doc Ock, just retroactively, though.
To juggle all of this shit at once, and it really doesn't work. Also, the symbiote coming from outer space is fucking stupid.
It always has!
Where do they come from?
No, that's how it is in the comics, but there's a lot more context.
I know that's how it is in the comics, but there's a lot more context. It always comes from space, so it's...
Weren't you arguing that... Wasn't he... No, it wasn't him, right? It was the CBR article that was arguing fucking adaptation...
Yeah, it was CBR. It was CBR, yeah. Yeah, it wasn't this.
Has he not done that at all yet so far?
I don't know.
With everything,
I don't think so.
Everything that we know about this universe so far, telling me that aliens exist is
Black
kind of a
suit really does look good.
So after all that,
yeah, I like it.
Harry ambushes Peter and tries to...
I like the black suit for Peter Parker more in the movie than the comics, but I like the comic version of Venom better.
Murder him in the street. We are not even 1/6 through the movie at this point. Now, all things considered, I actually like this fight. It's pretty exciting. We know Peter isn't gonna die because the movie just fucking started. But
could you imagine if they killed him in like the beginning of the movie?
The main thing at risk here is the wedding
if this movie was made
extra threat
nowadays,
to the
they would
fight,
have.
and it's good.
Yeah, and then just had like some female character take the role.
Yeah, and make
or like a trans black lesbian
for making the audience engaged. Now, right after this scene, we're thrown into the Sandman's origin story because, like I said, this movie has no fucking breaks. However, him turning into Sandman is actually one of the best sequences in the whole movie. The effects have aged pretty well, and with no dialogue and beautiful music, it's an excellent example of...
The only issue I really have with Sandman is the fact that Peter just lets him go. Because it's like, his daughter still has cancer, he's still clearly gonna commit crimes.
Literally, Spider-Man's supposed to be responsible, and he just, like, lets Sandman go.
Yeah.
Wordless storytelling.
Sandman was a good guy.
It's kind of weird because if you look at this scene on its own, it's kind of beautiful. But then you remember it's in the same movie as this scene. And
that scene is the best scene in the movie.
You get kind of upset.
Nothing wrong with this scene.
Legitimately, this is the best scene. This is the best scene in the trilogy. Like, I'm not even joking.
Anyway, Harry has amnesia now, which, as everybody knows, is probably the worst plot device in the history of storytelling.
Yeah.
He seriously hit his head and forgot the entire last 2 movies. That is more than ridiculous. That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Oh, also, James Franco has gone from being a bad actor to being an insane one.
I got here as fast as I could.
I know that face.
Now, unsurprisingly, Mary Jane is still the worst character in this movie.
True.
Spider-Man gets attacked.
Like, the thing is, she's a bitch to him because he doesn't have time for her, but she literally knows he's Spider-Man.
This isn't about you. This is about me.
Remember how in the last movie she's like, hey, I love you, I'll support your lifestyle. Yeah, well, the first time he has to go out and do Spider-Man stuff, she's like, Ugh, I didn't know this Spider-Man shit was gonna be full-time. The next scene is also really funny because we are now randomly introduced to all the new side characters. This random-ass motherfucker shows up and he's just like...
Oh my god, that's Gwen.
I'm sorry, who are you? This is the main villain, by the way, and he just shows up randomly.
That's arguable.
Yeah, it's Eddie.
I would argue that Sandman is the main villain, although it's debatable because there's 3 main antagonists. Although, then again...
Did there technically be 4?
What, Mary Jane?
No, fuck. No. The symbiote and Eddie would technically be 2 different...
I was just counting Venom. I wasn't counting the symbiote as a villain, but I guess if you think about it that way, sure. I view the symbiote as bringing out the best in Peter Parker.
His performance is not actually that bad. I actually really like it.
See, photography, it's not just about, no offense, flagpoles or whatever. It's about lighting.
And it kind of upsets me that people blame him for why this movie sucks. He's actually perfectly playing the jerky, hot-headed foil to Peter Parker. He's just one of the better parts of the movie when he's not being Venom. Because when he gets the symbiote, he kind of sucks. Once he turns into Venom, he's just...
I like being bad. It makes me happy.
Fucking ridiculous. Honestly, if this movie was just about one villain, one fucking dude,
also,
it could have been fine.
Like, he should have been buffer, but, like, he actually, like, kind of... That version of Venom does look kind of creepy.
Yeah.
Harry's motivations are clearly defined all the way from the first movie, and he would have made a great villain on his own. Sandman has a very compelling story, and the way he ties back to Peter could be interesting if written well. Eddie Brock...
Honestly, I don't really like the Uncle Ben retcon. It doesn't...
Yeah, it's really...
It doesn't ruin the movie for me, but, you know...
Brock serves as a great foil to Peter, his narrative opposite. He represents...
See ya, chump!
Something that we haven't seen in these movies yet. A person like Peter Parker, except motivated by his own selfishness instead of selflessness. Any one of these dudes...
Yeah, because, you know, he's a Ditko character.
Yeah.
Would have been fine. Making a Spider-Man movie should be so fucking easy, but most of them suck. I'm so mad. So anyway...
That's the thing I like about Spider-Man 3, though, is because Peter Parker acts the most Ditko out of any of the movies.
Yeah.
Mary Jane gets kicked out of her play because she can't sing for shit.
Which is fitting because one of the major characters is Ursula Ditkovich.
And she sees Peter swing by, and she actually gets...
Like, I like that they named the chick that, like, the relationship he has with her is easily the most Ditko-esque, and she's named after Steve Ditko with her last name.
Yeah.
Mad at him. Yeah, forget being supportive of the Spider-Man lifestyle. Now you're actually actively jealous of your own boyfriend. And then she even has the audacity to get mad when he kisses...
Spider-Man,
a random girl that he doesn't know.
But he also kissed her while she was dating Harry, and she tried to get with him while she was with the other guy.
Right in front of her. Peter, why did you do that? This movie's just basically Mary Jane and Peter Parker being pissy at each other again, because we haven't seen enough of that. Because we have the same...
Again, he should have just fucked all the bitches. He should have fucked, what is it, Betsy Brandt, he should have fucked Gwen Stacy, and he should have fucked Ursula Ditkovich. Started to him.
You can't do that, though. If you're a Spider-Man, you come inside a woman, they die.
No.
That's the general storyline in every single one of these movies. So now Spider-Man decides to be evil, and he wears his hair different, and he's...
Again, that's the thing that's funny, is, like, Peter, like, being taken over by an evil alien symbiote. It just makes him kind of a dick.
Says bad words.
You'll get your rent when you fix this door!
And everybody likes this part of the movie. This is everyone's favorite part of the movie.
I like that joke.
Is he actually trying to say that nobody likes this scene? Is he being facetious here?
Everybody universally agrees that this is where the movie really shines.
Like, he sounds like he's being pretty sarcastic, and I genuinely think this is the best part of the trilogy, not just the movie.
This movie has a flow, much like the others do. However, the flow in this movie is fucking insane. They just have each villain getting kicked out of the story to make room for another villain. Harry's the bad guy at the beginning of the movie until he gets amnesia. Then Sandman comes in, and he's the villain until Peter murders him. Then Harry decides not to have amnesia anymore, and he's the villain again. Then Peter Parker kills Harry Osborn with a bomb, and then Venom is the main villain after that. This movie is bananas. All while this is happening, we have bad acting.
It's over.
No. Please. No.
And just absolutely hilarious scenes.
Now dig on this.
The last act of this movie rushes along faster than you can say,
oh boy, yeah.
Eddie Brock gets the symbiote, and immediately afterwards, him and Sandman just find each other wandering the streets. And they steal a taxi, kidnap Mary Jane, and build a death trap for Spider-Man. This all happens in the span of like a couple minutes. This movie is so sluggishly paced until the point where all this shit has to be shoved in immediately.
Hold the phone. He was saying that the flow was consistent. He was saying that the goofy stuff just goes off the rails through the whole movie, and now he's saying it's sluggish until the end.
I don't know, makes sense to me.
He's directly contradicting himself.
Oh,
look, this is classic Cosmonaut, though. He says one thing at the beginning of the film, and then at the beginning of his YouTube video, and then near the end of his video, he says something that's contradictory.
Of course.
Harry to recruit him to fight the bad guys, but Harry is now the Phantom of the Opera, and he's sad, and he hides in his castle. But then the butler comes out and says that Spider-Man didn't kill his dad, and that Spider-Man is innocent.
I loved your father, as I have
who are you?
loved you, Harry.
I'm sorry, who are you? So the climax of this movie revolves around Peter
No,
saving
seriously,
Mary Jane.
who is he? That's a good point. Who the fuck is that guy?
Don't worry about it.
He shows up for this movie. That's it.
Yeah.
Does that sound familiar? Because it's been the climax in every single one of these.
It literally wasn't the climax in the first.
You see what I mean when I say these movies are all the same? I don't even care. It's so funny. 4 out of 10, really bad, but I like it anyway.
I don't feel so good.
If you ask me, all 3 of these movies honestly do make a pretty decent trilogy. People say Spider-Man 3 is the worst one, but if you watch all of them back to back, it really doesn't feel that much different from the other 2. So yeah, my opinion hasn't really changed. I prefer the new movies, but at the same time, I can still enjoy these movies for what they are. Because even when they're bad, they aren't as bad as The Amazing Spider-Man 2, even though I've never seen it, and I'm never going to see it. You guys are...
Like I said, No Way Home is the only one I bothered to watch of the new ones, and I liked it, and I have no interest in seeing the other 2.
Never gonna get me to watch that movie. Because it's not gonna happen.
Wait, so he hasn't even seen it? I mean, granted, it is terrible. It's fucking atrocious, but...
In a million
great.
years. Maybe some other time. Bye, guys.
Don't you love how when Electro's like, Spider-Man, he hates me.
Does he do
You're my enemy.
What am I watching? I don't know, but I hate it.
Subscribe to Fiji to RedEye.